I had said that I was going to file articles for impeachment of Kristi Noem.
It is deeply irresponsible for elected officials to politicize an active investigation.
Now at 7, local leaders on both sides of the political aisle speaking out after Border Patrol agents shot 2 people who officials say have ties to a Venezuelan transnational gang. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us live with what we know so far. Plus, a Portland police officer has been reassigned after comments made about the Minneapolis shooting during a recent protest, making the rounds online. And coming up at 7:30, a federal judge blocks the Trump administration from imposing additional requirements for those who vote by mail. How this could impact you in future elections. Sunrise streaming live at 7 starts right now. Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 7 o'clock. I'm China Green, headed over to Chris McGinnis and Rod Hill for a look at your weather and traffic.
Thank you. Good morning to you. Happy Monday. Nice day coming. We're about, 50 minutes or so away from sunup at this point. But if you get up high, you can see partly cloudy skies, and they're starting to warm up the chairlifts up at Timberline. Not much wind, and, gust to 21. 39 degrees is the temperature up there, about the same as we have down here in the valley. And the cameras in the valley also showing some breaks in the cloud deck, starting to get some pretty color looking east over the interstate bridge from the springs to the waterfront in Vancouver. 43 is the temperature there. And here's some blue sky as well showing up out in Chehalis from the tasting room. Temperatures about 40 on average out the door. Some of you are in the mid to upper 30s, but everybody's above freezing. We'll be right around 49 noon. We're going to see increasing sun to partly to mostly sunny skies open up. And we'll be about 53 when the kids get out of school. Pretty nice, Chris.
That looks super good. All right, let's get you out the door. We'll start off on the west side, inbound Sunset, riding the brake a little bit, especially that left lane from the zoo into the Vista Ridge Tunnel. Of course, the left lane is the lane that goes on I-405 north there, so we're a little slow. Banfield, Interstate 84, coming out of the Hollywood District past Lloyd. That too is starting to slow just a bit as we look at the drive times. I-84 is up to about 20 minutes to get you in from Troutdale. Still not so bad. And last but not least, to the Clark County side of the Interstate Bridge, traffic getting a little bit busier there, at least from the ramp from SR 14. Right now, the drive in from Main Street to the Fremont is averaging about 13 minutes at last check. China?
Thank you, Chris. First on Sunrise, there's ongoing follow after federal agents shot 2 people in Portland last Thursday. It happened during a traffic stop in Northeast Portland. On Friday, Portland police confirmed the Department of Homeland Security's claims that the 2 shot have ties to Venezuelan transnational gang. So far, we haven't seen any video of the shooting or what led up to it, but KGW has obtained video from a neighbor showing medics addressing one of the victims on the sidewalk at the apartment complex. Portland Police Chief Bob Day says the 2 shot are in stable condition but are in federal law enforcement custody. Now, since the shooting, both Republican and Democratic state leaders have been reacting to the shooting. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us from downtown Portland. Thomas, what have they been saying?
Yeah, well, China, Attorney General Democrat Dan Rayfield tells us that he has deep concerns over this shooting on Thursday, saying that it sparks the need for more transparency and accountability from federal agents. At the same time, Republican state lawmakers we spoke with in Salem yesterday said they'd like to see the rhetoric turned down when it comes to federal law enforcement, adding they believe Democratic leadership is doing more harm than good with their reactions.
What Oregonians saw over the last 72 hours was not restraint. They saw immediate conclusions, inflammatory rhetoric, and public statements made before all the facts were known.
Since the shooting, Portland police have confirmed federal agents were attempting to arrest 2 people with ties to a Venezuelan gang. Meanwhile, Democratic Representative Maxine Dexter was in town Saturday, and she told constituents she wants to take action against the Department of Homeland Security and draft articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Kristi Noem.
We also are trying to form a coalition of congressional members who are willing to withhold appropriations for the Department of Homeland Security.
Still, again, Republican leaders down in Salem say that both sides of the aisle should bring in all the facts before jumping to reactions and rhetoric for incidents like the one we saw Thursday. China?
I'm Thomas Schultz reporting live. Thank you, Thomas. In the wake of the shootings by federal agents both here in Portland and in Minneapolis, hundreds of people gathered at local demonstrations Saturday. One protester says she lives 2 miles from where the shooting in Portland took place.
It really hits home, and you realize how you're not safe. I'm very concerned that we are turning into the very kinds of countries we stood up against in prior wars, world wars.
A vigil was also held at Terry Strunk Plaza in downtown Portland on Saturday. Organizers say they want to send a message that people are coming together to call for change. Meantime, over the weekend, Portland police continued to monitor activity outside the South Waterfront ICE facility. On Sunday, police say no one was arrested. On Saturday, 2 people who were wanted for previous events unrelated to the ICE facility were arrested. One woman was arrested on probable cause for harassment related to an incident where she pushed a police officer on January 9th in South Portland. And then another woman was arrested on warrant for unlawful use of a weapon and coercion stemming from a shooting in December of 2025. And on Friday, Portland police say that they arrested a man after he allegedly pushed an officer during a protest outside the ICE facility. Portland Police Chief Bob Day says an officer has been reassigned as the Bureau reviews a complaint about comments that he made during a recent protest. So this comes after a video began circulating online, allegedly showing demonstrators outside the South Portland ICE facility questioning the officer about Renee Good, who was shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. In part of the video, the demonstrator asks, quote, "Renee Nicole Good, would you shoot her too?" To which the officer replies, quote, "If she drove a car on me, yes." Chief Day says that the complaint is under review and the officer has been assigned to other duties in the meantime. All right, we are hearing from attorneys with Innovation Law Lab after they asked a federal court to stop ICE agents from making arrests in Oregon without a warrant. Since October, attorneys say that ICE has launched operations across the state, leading to an almost 8,000% spike in immigration arrests since 2024. Immigration attorneys say that ICE is targeting areas with high Latino populations and arresting people without warrants.
The law requires ICE to have probable cause before detaining someone and taking away their liberty. And in the context of the statute, that also requires a warrant. That's an appropriate check on the power that they're exercising to take people's liberty. And we're seeing this really rampantly, especially with the increased enforcement activity since October.
Among the plaintiffs is Victor Cruz, who lives in Hillsborough. ICE agents arrested Cruz despite him having a work authorization and a pending visa. His family says he was arrested in a case of mistaken identity, as federal agents were looking for another man by the same name who did have a criminal history. Stay with KGW as we continue to cover the Border Patrol shooting here in Portland, as well as the deadly ICE shooting in Minneapolis. You can catch the latest right here on KGW Plus or over on our website, kgw.com. Taking a live look at our state capitol, courtesy of our Salem Skycam. It's down there. It's down there in the bottom. But right now we want to take a look at the sky because it's pretty, Rod.
Yeah, the moon up there, really pretty morning. And most of us are going to wake up to partly cloudy skies, meaning seeing some sun. Sun comes up at 7:48 this morning, so we're not quite there yet. Cloud flow, this is the same flow that brought us the cloudiness we had over the weekend. This is slowly moving up to the north. It will take any rain chances with it. We've had some light rain up around Astoria and Long Beach overnight. All that again is slowly pushing up to the north. You can see the broken cloudiness spilling really across all of our state. These clouds should continue to thin in most areas. Here's that camera that China just showed you. Really pretty. The moon actually is up here underneath my banner, it looks like. But partly cloudy skies, 40 degrees, no wind down in Marion County. Wilsonville 38. Everybody here is holding well above freezing. In fact, usual cold spots, Battlegrounds at 42, Scappoose is at 44, Salem is at 40, Dallas 38. Coldest numbers have been 36, 37 so far. There's Aurora, good morning to you, at 36 degrees to start your day. It is a dry weather map, and there are some really warm spots. Tillamook, one of them, good morning, 57 expected later today at 3 p.m. Madras could match that, Bend 56, at least up into the 50s, up and down I-5, and a lot of you out east will be in the 40s. 7-day. Very dry. In fact, not only dry this week, but perhaps dry well into next week. I've got 53 today and tomorrow. Futurecast likes valley fog Wednesday. If that's the case, that could be the one day that doesn't get much sun, and we would maybe not make it to 50. We'd be in the 40s. But then Thursday, Friday, we're right back up with full sun and 54. Here's Chris McGinnis.
It's more like July than January. Well, at least not temperature-wise, but sunshine-wise. All right, let's get you out the door. A quick look at the trip through Tigard. We'll zoom in. I-5 near the 217 interchange. Of course, this is the 217 flyover ramp, so cars here with the headlights headed up over that ramp or heading onto 217 northbound. You can see traffic is zipping along just fine on that side of town, as it is over in the Banfield, although traffic does tighten up a little bit coming out of the Hollywood district. And right now that total trip in from Troutdale averaging between 18 and 20 minutes. That relatively unchanged in the last little while. Hey, heads up this weekend, especially for folks in Oregon City, West Linn, but anybody that travels over the Abernathy Bridge know that that will be closed overnight, Friday night and Saturday night, 11 to 6, and then 11 to 7 Saturday into Sunday. Your detours, 99E, Highway 43, or I-5. That's part of the I-205 Abernathy Bridge improvements project. China?
Thank you, Chris. Still coming Sunrise, a trial in the death of a boy killed in a dog attack in 2023 is set to begin today. We have more on that story, plus some of your other local headlines when Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
The Pacific County Sheriff's Office says that they've arrested the fire chief of Ilwaco following an investigation into child sex crimes. Deputies conducted a search warrant Friday at a home in Ocean Park, north of Ilwaco, following reports of child molestation and rape. After the search, deputies arrested Jeffrey Archer. He's expected to make his first court appearance today. This morning, a trial gets underway today for the woman whose dogs attacked and killed a 6-year-old boy. This happened at Northeast Portland home in December 2023. The boy's grandmother is friends with Coco Miller, who helped take the child to school every morning. One of those mornings, Miller's 2 dogs attacked the boy. Officers say Miller attempted to stop the attack and was injured. She's charged with 4 felony counts, including criminally negligent homicide. Well, we have a health alert for a South Salem neighborhood. There's a boil water order in place due to a loss of water pressure. This right here is a map of the area under notice off of Davis Road, South and Skyline Road. The city says that power outage triggered a shutdown at the area water pump station. They say that they should get test results back today, but in the meantime, boil tap water for at least 1 minute before drinking it or using it for food. A brand new library is open on Northwest Pettygrove Street in Northwest Portland. Dozens of families attended the grand opening over the weekend. The new library is more than twice the size of the library it's replacing, which was on Thurman Street a few blocks away. We spoke to one dad who visited the library with his daughter. Here's his first impressions.
Oh, it's awesome. Just the structure and the fact that they used a lot of reclaimed materials and like the stuff they put together for kids. I mean, it's just, you can tell they put a lot of work into it and a lot of heart.
Inside the library is a large selection of books for kids and plenty of computers for those looking to access the internet. All right, your time now is 7:14. We have some good, well, I guess, however you look.
Well, it's in the eye of the beholder.
Yes.
But pretty soggy out there. We'll definitely be drying up the soil this
Drying
week.
up the soil.
Drying up the soil this week. Unfortunately, no new snow in the forecast this entire week or into the weekend for the mountains. Of course, the big story of the weekend, one of them was folks getting up to the mountain in many cases probably for their first ski and boarding trip of the season, which is kind of sad, but that's what happened. And at the time, it was still pretty good fresh snow, but this is going to be getting old in a hurry. Timberline, they've still got 40 inches plus of a base. 39 is the number up there this morning. So it's been warm, and this is going to be a temperature inversion week upcoming, which means a lot of this week we'll see above freezing temperatures at base area on the mountain, which means we'll start to melt off some of what has fallen as well. Look at these numbers. Weather modeling updating to say 50 at Government Camp today and 50 degrees at Timberline. Freezing levels high at 9,000 feet. Obviously, the passes for travel are clean and dry, and all is good. Broken mid to high level cloudiness moving across our state. And notice the green, some traceable raindrops just nipping Clatsop County and across the river up into Long Beach. Other than that, we're completely dry all day. And Futurecast here's 4:12 in the afternoon, kind of partly to mostly sunny skies opening up. Similar situation for your Tuesday. Now, modeling really likes a marine push and valley fog in the valley on Wednesday. This is what, Wednesday at 5 p.m. So if this is true, we wouldn't get any sun Wednesday. That would hold temperatures likely down into the 40s for highs. Indications are we would get back to just clear blue skies for the most part on Thursday and Friday. Sun up is 7:48 this morning, so we're not quite there, but some pretty early morning sunrise colors, partly cloudy. Looking, Drew Carney used to love saying, looks like a painting out there, right? Drew now working for our station in Colorado, if you haven't heard. But that is absolutely gorgeous weather. The springs at the waterfront. You see Mount Hood on the left, 43 is the temperature. Here's a Salem tasting room camera in Sherwood. It's kind of a similar scene, not reporting a temperature this morning. 47 Kelso, 40 Salem. Bend is freezing. Burns was in the teens, now at 20. And it's 24 out in Baker City. No problems for weather-related traveling today at all. Partly to mostly sunny skies, 53, 54 degree temperatures in the valley expected. Similar conditions up in southwest Washington. Maybe thicker cloud cover holds much of the day up in, say, Cowlitz County around Kelso, Longview, and up into Castle Rock. But other than that, we expect partly sunny skies, winds 5 to 15 miles per hour and highs in the 50s. Similar day tomorrow. We'll watch Wednesday for the potential of valley fog and low clouds that get stuck and keep us cooler than 50. Otherwise, it's 50 or better Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right, here's Chris McGinnis.
Rod, thanks for that. We're just getting word of a possible house fire right now in northeast Portland on northeast Garfield, just west of MLK. A number of Portland fire crews on the scene. We're working to get more details on this, but just be aware if you see fire engines in the vicinity, especially on MLK. That's what's going on. Again, I hope to bring you more information in just a little bit. Back to the Freeway Drive, I-5 south of town, rolling along just fine past the 217 interchange. No problems there. We'll switch gears, take you to the Banfield. Interstate 84 westbound traffic, relatively unchanged here from our last report. Still getting along okay, coming in from Troutdale, about 20 minutes or so from that side of town. And Highway 26. You know what? When you can get in from Hillsborough in 15 minutes, that's a good morning. China, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. Still to come on Sunrise, hundreds of federal troops being sent to Minneapolis amid widespread protest over the death of Renee Good. The latest on the situation, plus more of your national headlines when Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. weather impact alert days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Amid heightened concern over immigration enforcement in the Portland area, one state representative says some federal agents have been posing as utility workers. Representative Ricky Ruiz says that he's heard of 3 separate incidents in Gresham where federal agents impersonated a utility worker in order to lure people from their homes.
But what I've heard from their families directly who I spoke to, they're mentioning how these individuals are showing up with, yellow, orange vest, asking questions about utilities.
Ruiz says that the incidents happen in North Gresham and Rockwood. PGE and Northwest Natural have both put out statements recently warning about people impersonating utility workers, though they did not mention immigration agents. They now caution that their employees will never ask for immediate access to customers' homes. They also say that employees will be wearing a badge that identifies them and urge you to call the police if you suspect they are an imposter. The protests continue across the country following the deadly shooting by an ICE agent in Minneapolis. Meanwhile, a top Trump official says that hundreds more federal officials will be arriving in that city. Maggie Vespa has more.
Dramatic new video of Minneapolis residents confronting federal immigration officers in neighborhoods.
Make hold, make hold, make hold, make hold.
As they appear to make more arrests.
Get off the street, let us clear out, get off the street.
This as the Trump administration vows to send hundreds more immigration officers to Minneapolis.
We're sending more officers today and tomorrow. They'll arrive.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you. It comes days after ICE officer Jonathan Ross was caught on multiple cameras shooting and killing 37-year-old Renee Good behind the wheel of her SUV. Protests continuing outside the local ICE headquarters today and across the country, from New York to Atlanta to California. Back in Minnesota, this exchange going viral.
You should get a real job. Have you ever thought about getting a real job?
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone back. No, you can't take my phone.
We've asked DHS for comment on this. Today, Border Czar Tom Homan telling NBC's Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, Ross fired in self-defense.
I truly believe this officer, in his mind, thought his life was in danger, which allows him to use lethal force.
Minnesota's Democratic Senator Tina Smith accusing the Trump administration of lying about what videos of the shooting show.
I think what we are seeing here is the federal government, Kristi Noem, Vice President Vance, Donald Trump, attempting to cover up what happened here in the Twin Cities. And I don't think that people here and around the country are believing it.
Meanwhile, Minneapolis mourns.
How exhausted is Minneapolis by grief and by tragedy right now?
I don't know how much more we can take. I mean, it's at its breaking point, you know. I'm sure there's many more faces that needs to be up here on this wall.
Now to your morning rush. The U.S. military says it has launched a large-scale airstrike against ISIS targeting in Syria. A video released by U.S. Central Command shows a fighter jet taking off and missiles striking targets. More than 20 aircrafts were used and more than 35 targets were hit. Officials say the strikes are part of Operation Hawkeye Strike, ordered by President Trump after an ISIS ambush in December killed 2 U.S. soldiers and a U.S. civilian interpreter. This is a second round of U.S. strikes against ISIS in Syria since mid-December. The Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. The investigation centers on the Fed's renovation of its Washington headquarters. Powell confirmed the probe in a statement, saying it is tied to President Trump's push to pressure the Fed to cut interest rates. President Donald Trump says he wants to limit credit card interest rates. In a Truth Social post, he called for a one-year cap of 10%, saying Americans are being ripped off. President Trump says the cap would start January 20th, 1 year after his return to the White House. The post did not say how the cap would be enforced. And Bob Weir, a founding member of Grateful Dead, has died at the age of 78. Weir was diagnosed with cancer last year but recovered, but died from underlying lung issues, according to a statement on his website. The band rose to national fame in the 1980s and remained popular into the 1990s. Weir is survived by his family, including his wife and 2 daughters.
We want to be the ones that free our own country. We don't want people to get involved. We want to do it.
Coming up in our next half hour, Iranians in the Portland metro area cheering on protesters in Iran as they continue to push for a regime change. Plus, a federal judge blocking an order by President Trump that would have changed voting by mail. Thomas Schultz joins us with how this could impact you. Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
We're coming up on 7:29 on this Monday morning. We start with breaking news in Northeast Portland's Piedmont neighborhood. Portland Fire and Rescue dealing with a house fire in the 6300 block of Northeast Garfield Street. A number of emergency crews on the scene. That's just west, of course, of MLK Boulevard. So be on the lookout for the emergency response there. We hope to have many more details coming up shortly. Your freeway drive's not bad. Right now, the inbound Sunset, about 18 minutes to get you in from Hillsborough, 20 minutes gets you in from Troutdale on I-84. The trip across the Columbia, not bad on I-205 or I-5. Rod?
Thank you, Chris, for that. We are completely dry out there. Here's our Schnuckwitz Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. Kind of mostly cloudy here, but a nice morning, not much wind. Temperature is 53. This camera shows kind of a mostly cloudy deck, but notice no frost in the grass. This is the Oregon Garden camera out in Silverton. Portland's at 42. There are spots opening up partly cloudy skies. The sun up is 7:48. I have us getting up to 53 degrees today. The 7-day is completely dry, and most days are expected to reach 50 or better.
Good morning. Taking a live look from our Salem tasting room sky cam. Taking a look at the sunrise. It looks neon. Like if you look all the way at the bottom right there above the tree line, it looks like a neon sign, right? Fire. Very cool. It's been a long time since we've been able to hype up a sunrise, since it's been,
That's fair.
Cloudy,
Yeah,
just very
true.
Pacific Northwesty, so very exciting. We do have some traffic alerts we got to talk about here in a second, but first, look at that.
Yeah, we're all dry. Here's another look at a different that, if you will. Here's our Salem sky camera. This one's showing more blue, but there's China's neon color hugging the horizon there. It's Salem capital. I say Salem capital. Good for you folks. It's the Oregon capital. 40 degrees down in Marion County. There's Mount Hood on the left. Downtown Portland, partly cloudy skies as well. We're at 42. Nice day coming. Not much wind expected. We'll be 50 degrees at noon. We'll probably get up to about 53 for a high temperature. All right, here's Oregon's and Washington's Chris McGinnis.
Okay, let's get you out the door. Actually, on a serious note, I want to get you back to Northeast Portland's Piedmont neighborhood. Portland Fire and Rescue now confirming that they are dealing with a house fire on Northeast Garfield Street. This is the Northeast 6300 block, so just west of MLK Boulevard. Be on the lookout for the fire response here, and obviously a number of emergency crews on the scene. We're working to get more details, and we hope to bring them to you soon right here on Sunrise. All right, back to the freeway drive. Inbound Sunset, riding the brakes a little bit coming down the hill from the zoo into the tunnel, but nothing out of the ordinary there. I-84, the Banfield, busy, but moving along. And so far the drive times, you know what? For this hour of a Monday morning, China, we're doing okay on the freeways.
Thank you, Chris. In world headlines this morning, President Donald Trump says he is considering a possible U.S. response in Iran as the country cracks down on protesters. NBC's Alice Barr brings us the latest from Washington, D.C.
Amid a deadly crackdown against anti-government protesters in Iran that human rights groups say has killed more than 500 people, President Trump overnight confirming he's weighing options for potential U.S. intervention and saying that Iran called to negotiate.
We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up, but we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting.
3 U.S. officials tell NBC News preliminary plans the president has been presented with range from potential strikes to other non-military action. Notably, the Pentagon has not yet moved major assets to the region to support possible military action. Iran is now warning that U.S. and Israeli military bases in the region could be considered legitimate targets if the U.S. launches a strike, and adding their response may not be limited to reacting after an attack.
If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. They won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong.
Some Republican lawmakers urging President Trump to act,
embolden the protesters and scare the hell out of the regime,
while others warn of the risks of potential military action.
Sometimes it has the opposite effect. So when you bomb a country, then people tend to rally around their own flag.
The protests in Iran, initially touched off by an economic crisis, have evolved into one of the biggest challenges the regime has ever faced. Over the weekend, demonstrators in Los Angeles marching in solidarity were struck by a U-Haul truck. The FBI is now investigating. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Over the weekend, Iranians living here locally gathered at Pioneer Courthouse Square to show their support for those pushing back against the Iranian government. We spoke to one woman who moved from Portland from Iran in the 80s. She says despite uprisings in the past, she hopes this time the current government falls, adding that while Iranians want support, they believe it's their duty to fight for freedom on their own.
I hope that the whole world, including this government, supports the Iranian people. But most of the Iranian people have said over the years, we want to do it ourselves. We want to be the ones that free our own country. We don't want people to get involved. We want to do it. And if everyone can support us, we would love that.
President Trump, meantime, has vowed to intervene if Iran shoots or violently kills peaceful demonstrators in Iran. Later this morning at 9:30, the man accused of robbing and stabbing a 77-year-old at Portland Safeway is set to be indicted. Police say 51-year-old Christopher Woods robbed and stabbed the man on New Year's Day in the restroom of a Safeway near Southeast Powell and 122nd and then took off. He was tracked down by police and arrested about 90 minutes later. The victim was taken to the hospital for serious injuries but survived. Woods faces first-degree assault and robbery charges. This all comes after he was convicted of another stabbing back in May of 2017. In that incident, he injured a woman on a Max platform near Holiday Park in Northeast Portland. One person is dead and several others are displaced after a fire at an apartment complex in Tillamook. It happened around noon yesterday at Trask River Apartments. The investigation is ongoing, but investigators don't believe the death is suspicious. 12 people in total needed emergency housing assistance. We have new information over an assault at a hospital Friday. Police have now a suspect in custody who may have caused an EMT to overdose. It happened sometime before 3 Friday afternoon at Kaiser Permanente Sunnyside Medical Center. The sheriff's office says a woman visiting a patient got violent with 2 EMTs, hitting one with a bag containing a white powder. One began suffering overdose symptoms, and initial testing shows that the bag could have contained a controlled substance. The suspect, 57-year-old Tracy Davidson, left before first responders got to the scene, but she was arrested after returning to the building yesterday morning. No one else was hurt. Well, there's a chance to keep the New Year's celebration going a bit longer. Portland Japanese Garden held a final day of festivities Sunday to ring in the Japanese New Year. That included family-friendly activities like a holiday scavenger hunt and cultural lion dance performances.
It's the time when people get together, especially with their families and friends, spend some leisurely time like relaxing and eating great food for New Year's. So it's a big celebration at the beginning of the year. And so we're very happy to have our community members join us to celebrate with us.
And while they like to start the year off big, the garden holds multiple large festivals throughout the year. All right, your time now is 7:37. Headed over to Rob for a look at the weather.
Yeah, nice morning shaping up. Not all of us, but many of us are waking up and seeing some pretty colors with broken cloudiness and the early morning sunrise. Sun comes up at 7:48, so we're not quite there yet. You can see the clouds just kind of pushing inland. This cloud flow is gradually moving up to our north and generally from south to north across our state today. We are expecting to see increasing sunshine for partly to mostly sunny conditions. You drop down to the Mid-Valley. Here's Salem this morning. You never know which camera is going to steal the show, but to me this morning, the Salem camera has been one of the prettiest. You can see the birds flying over the state capitol there. 40 is the early morning number. Winds are calm. 44 up in Scappoose. Happy Valley, good morning, 46. So nobody near freezing on this map. And if you drop down to the valley, coldest numbers are 36 in Corvallis and Aurora. 40 this morning out in McMinnville. Carino is our pet of the day. Beautiful dog, absolutely gorgeous. Pet of the day is the email address at kgw.com. Send us the photo and your pet will become our pet of the day. It is a dry weather map today. Temps in the 40s, some of you hitting 50 out east. Central Oregon, beautiful day. Mostly sunny skies coming. Bend up to 56 degrees. The coast also plenty warm. Tillamook 57. Thicker clouds up around Astoria. Increasing sun down to the south. And ditto that up and down I-5. More sun to the south. More cloudiness up to the north. This is a dry 7-day. Weather models like Wednesday is the best bet for valley fog and low clouds that could be stubborn to get out. Otherwise, we think each day has quite a bit of sunshine and reaches 50 or better, and that is your update. Here's Chris.
Rod, thanks for that. We pick it up with breaking news in Northeast Portland's Piedmont neighborhood. Portland Fire and Rescue dealing with a house fire in the 6300 block of Northeast Garfield. That's just west of MLK Boulevard. Obviously, you're going to see a number of emergency crews on the scene. Portland Fire and Rescue just tweeted out this photo of the house itself. It sounds like the fire is out, but there may be one victim, obviously concerned with some sort of smoke inhalation or something like that. We understand there's more details to come, so we hope to bring those to you shortly on that house fire situation in Northeast Portland. Back to the Freeway Drive, inbound Sunset, riding the brakes a little bit coming down the hill from the zoo into the tunnel. Normal stuff there. I-84, again, normal slowing coming out of the Hollywood district. And at last check, the trip from Wilsonville is getting a little bit busier as well. Right now, that's up to about 22 minutes from Wilsonville Road into downtown. China?
Thank you, Chris.
I think it's great that it's not just one person or singular hope. Yeah. And I think, 3 people go at it, like someone's going to stick.
Coming up, 16 U.S. skaters officially selected for the 2026 Winter Olympics. We hear from those Olympic stars, plus more of your sports headlines when Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
We have breaking news we want to get to right now. Our Thomas Schultz just got to the scene of a house fire. Thomas, what do you know?
Yeah, well, China, right behind us, you can see something of the work that's being done right here with firefighters on scene of a house just 3 houses down this block on Northeast Garfield. Again, we're in Northeast Portland. We know that there was a victim inside. We don't know the condition that they are in right now. But look, police tape just went up right in front of us. Police blocking off more of this street. Again, the condition of this person is unknown. But as you might imagine, as you continue to further bring out more and more police tape and block off more of a street, that is never a good sign. Also a huge presence here, fire presence at least. A lot of firefighters have been on scene for at least 45 minutes now working on this. They have said that the fire is now extinguished, but once again, you can see there's quite a lot of presence. Investigators, fire investigators that is, have been called out here as well. We are expecting to learn from a public information officer with Portland Fire and Rescue a little bit more about what's going on here, a little bit more about this fire. That is the next step for us here, but you can see firefighters bringing the ladders down. Looks like they're just beginning to start packing up from this scene a little bit, but obviously still a long ways to go with more police tape just going up. And you can see this whole street of Northeast Garfield here completely blocked off at Northeast Garfield and Northeast Highland by firefighters and crews. A lot of neighbors just beginning to wake up, milling around too, trying to determine what exactly happened here. Still a lot of questions and a lot of unknowns. That is all information that, of course, we will bring you later this morning as we continue to learn more. China?
All right, Thomas Schultz reporting live this morning. Thank you, Thomas. Hey, just into the newsroom this morning, one of the 2 people shot by Border Patrol agents in Portland last week is now in the custody at Multnomah County Jail. Jail records show Luis Nino Mancado was booked yesterday afternoon, arrested by Portland FBI. Marshals are set to pick him up this morning at 8:30 for a court appearance, the jail says. So far, no word on whether the woman shot by Border Patrol, Yorlenis Zambrano Contreras, has been arrested. A judge has blocked a Trump administration order that would have tightened voting requirements nationwide. Critics say that the move could have disrupted vote-by-mail systems in Oregon and Washington. Senior reporter Thomas Schultz has more.
The judge ruled that President Trump overstepped his authority with this order. It would have mandated that all mail-in ballots arrive by Election Day. The order would have also required proof of U.S. citizenship to vote. Those changes could have had a significant impact here in Oregon and up in Washington. Both states sued to block the order, arguing it could disenfranchise tens of thousands of voters. The court says the Constitution gives Congress and the states, not the president, the authority to regulate federal elections. Still, President Trump pushed to end mail-in voting due to concerns over costs and election integrity.
We're going to end mail-in voting. It's a fraud. Do you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them?
He's wrong. Voting by mail in Oregon, which is, by the way, done with paper ballots, is less expensive than votes that require someone to show up at a specific place at a specific time.
The judge noted that voting by non-U.S. citizens is rare and illegal, adding that states could not be threatened with the loss of federal funding by not abiding by this order, meaning that mail-in voting in Washington and Oregon will continue as it has for quite some time. In downtown Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
Team USA is gearing up to go for gold with the Winter Olympics just 25 days away. The U.S. figure skating just announced that its Olympic team. Kathy Park has more.
Team USA!
16 U.S. skaters officially headed to the Winter Olympics, a roster made up of the world's best, like Ilya Malinin, nicknamed the Quad God.
Ilya Malinin is now the four-time U.S. national champ.
To Amber Glenn, making history this week with a record-breaking score. Our Hoda Copy spoke with Amber and two of her now teammates, Isabel Levito and Alyssa Liu.
I mean, I could be looking at the podium. Nobody knows, but this could be amazing. Do you think about that kind of thing?
I think it's great that it's not just one person or singular hope.
Yeah.
And I think, three people go at it, like someone's gonna stick.
This moment is all too familiar for gold medal Olympian Tara Lipinski.
What are these athletes experiencing ahead of the Olympics?
It's really stressful. You have one moment to shine. You have 4 minutes on the ice, and in our sport, one mistake and it's over.
That competitive pressure building for other athletes looking toward the Winter Games, including Lindsey Vonn, solidifying her comeback this weekend, winning her second World Cup downhill in Austria. At 41, she's entering her 5th Olympics, this time with a titanium knee.
One of the most incredible comebacks we have ever seen in any sport at any time.
I knew what it was going to take to win today. It's a sprint, and I had to give it everything I had.
From Olympic greats to rising stars, U.S. athletes ready to shine with the Games less than a month away. Kathy Park, NBC News.
Go Team USA!
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 Figure skating with my daughter, that's her sport. If you're a swimmer, many swimmers have different events they enter, same with track and field, same with gymnastics. But in figure skating, typically you have one event, and as Tara Lipinski, the former gold medal winner, said, if you make one mistake in your program, that's it, you're done.
Yeah, you work your entire life for those 4 minutes.
Big time pressure cooker. Yeah, we wish them all well. Here's what we're watching as forecasters. Sneako wave threat today at the coast. That's always an important reminder. The best safety tip is simply not to turn your back to the ocean. And remember, sneaker waves quickly come in, and they quickly come up, farther up the beach than what you're maybe anticipating the surf will. So keep an eye on that. Otherwise, enjoy a beautiful day at the beach today. Air stagnation advisory is now in effect for the valley. This will be up currently from the National Weather Service until Friday morning. It's in response to this high pressure ridging kind of stagnant air setup that can lead to poor air quality. You're asked to no outdoor burning, limit small engine operations like gas-powered blowers and lawnmowers. It can be particularly bad pollutants. Dry forecast all week. In fact, dry into next week, it looks like. Questions as a forecaster, which mornings, if any, will get valley fog? Futurecast loves valley fog that could be stubborn to clear on Wednesday morning. And what about the east wind threat? Typically, when you have these long, dry, stagnant periods, you get into a temperature inversion, and temperature inversions typically ignite east winds out of the gorge. Not expecting that today, but could see it develop as soon as tomorrow. And then most days are going to be warming to about 50 degrees. So here we go. All of this cloudiness is just slowly inching up to the north. This is the flow that brushed us with clouds over the weekend, brought some rain mainly to the north coast. The rain chance primarily up to our north now. And the cloudiness will continue to get thinner and thinner as you move down to the south and the overall cloud mass pushes up to the north. This is just another beautiful camera this morning. Timberline Lodge, one of our two cameras looking off to the east. Again, sun is now rising in the eastern sky. By the way, it's not cold up there, 39 degrees, similar temperature to the valley. And we'll stick with an eastern theme. Here, kind of a murky morning, a lot of Mid to high level clouds over the gorge from the Oregon Veterans Home camera, reporting a temperature of 34 degrees. There's a cool camera from the Canita Hot Springs Resort in Warm Springs, and they have a similar kind of broken cloud deck that if you're going to Central Oregon today that we have here in the valley. 37 Eugene, 47 Kelso, 49 Astoria, 34 Bend, freezing out in Baker City and freezing in Burns. Forecast for today, pretty nice. Light winds generally, partly to mostly sunny skies opening up. 51 to 54 degrees in the Mid-Valley, Southwest Washington. Maybe you hold thicker cloud cover up into Cowlitz County. Otherwise, this will be a partly sunny sky day, reaching 50 or better. Portland 53 today and tomorrow. The foggy start on Wednesday might hold temperatures below 50. We'll see if that becomes a situation. Otherwise, sunny and in the 50s all the way into the weekend. And here is Chris McGinnis.
Right, our drive definitely getting busier out there as we look across the freeway system. I-5 up near the Expo Center, slow and steady there. There's a live look at the Sylvan Hill, Highway 26, slow and steady coming up and over 217 as well. Right now we've jumped up to about 26 minutes to get you in from Hillsboro to the Vista Ridge Tunnel. Meanwhile, the I-205 drive looks fine over the Glen Jackson Bridge. The I-5 commute, though, really starting to bunch up. We're looking at about 21 minutes now to get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Speaking of bridges, heads up in Oregon City and Westland, or anybody traveling over the Abernathy Bridge this weekend, you won't be able to Friday or Saturday night. ODOT doing another series of weekend overnight closures, a full closure both directions of the Abernathy Bridge, 11 to 6 Friday and 11 to 7 on Saturday. Your detours will be 99E, Highway 43, or of course I-5. China, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. 2 cases of measles found in Linn County, plus flu cases on the rise. We have the latest in your health headlines when Sunrise continues after this.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
In a health alert this morning, the Oregon Health Authority is investigating 2 cases of measles in Linn County. They say more people may have been exposed. So these are the first cases in the state of measles this year. Health officials say those 2 people started developing symptoms January 5th. They spent some time in the emergency departments at Lebanon Community Hospital and Albany General Hospital. So if you were there during the times listed, you may have been exposed and you should let your healthcare provider know. Meanwhile, CDC estimates that there have been more than 15 million flu cases this season as hospitalizations and deaths continue to rise. They say it's worst season for respiratory illnesses since 1997. Jen Sullivan spoke with experts who say it's only going to get worse.
Each night, toys are sanitized as employees at this daycare center in Des Moines, Iowa, try and fight off germs as flu cases in their area surge.
We mop the infant room floor twice every night. Once with just warm water and once with a sanitation.
Nicole Scatino-Talley is the director of the Angelique Christiani Child Development Center. Some of the children here are infants and aren't eligible for the flu vaccine yet. It's recommended for 6 months and older. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says children under the age of 2 are at a particularly high risk of developing serious complications from the flu, which is why employees here are taking extra precautions. But this is a nationwide problem. Flu cases across the country have skyrocketed, topping an estimated 15 million. This map from the CDC shows multiple states experiencing high or very high levels of the flu. Roughly 180,000 people have been hospitalized and 7,400 have died. Most of the cases are from a severe strand of influenza A known as subclade K.
This subclade K, which is a new strain that probably is not included in the current vaccine.
Many healthcare professionals are worried cases will continue to rise.
The flu vaccine absolutely prevents severe illness, prevents hospitalizations.
The CDC estimates 130 million doses of the vaccine have been distributed nationwide this season, but that covers less than 40% of the U.S. population. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Coming up at 8, KGW Sunrise continues live on KGW Plus with a Washington woman's connection to the Obama family and how some recently discovered pictures will now be a small part of American history.